You're listening to the smartest guys in marketing, the best show on the planet for client businesses to learn about traffic, funnels, sales, conversions, and marketing coolness. Chris and Taylor are the founders of Traffic and Funnels, a digital marketing consultancy helping you get paid clients from cold traffic daily. Now, here are your hosts, Chris and Taylor.
What's up, everybody? Taylor Welch and Chris, the freaking man, Evans.
What's up, y'all?
Smartest guys in marketing. This is a mini. This is one of our unscripted ones, and we're talking today about, wait for it, copywriting secrets of a middle-aged white man from Concord.
It's actually Concord.
Whatever. You can love, you can hate, but you got to respect my copy, bro, because I just pulled that out of thin air.
That was good. I'm going to give you props right now.
Dude, be careful if you're driving that you don't laugh so hard that you get in a wreck from listening to our show.
I feel like we need a disclaimer for this podcast.
I mean, we have had people say, I was laughing so hard that I couldn't breathe. Well, be careful, because if you can't breathe, you're going to have a hard time driving. Just saying.
What does this mean?
We're talking about how to get good at writing copy. And this is something that Chris and I actually have both developed this skill. And we've done it differently. At this point, I'm probably like between 100 and 250% better than Chris at this.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Nah, Chris can write some copy.
Just forgive Taylor for...
Hey, I'll never forget the first day that Chris wrote an ad that outpulled mine, which was basically the first day of Traffic and Funnels. Because I had made my living as a copywriter before doing Traffic and Funnels, and Chris hadn't. And so you were out of practice. Just be honest. Like you were
totally.
Like
yeah.
I was in practice and everything I touched turned to gold, and you were out of practice. And I wrote this awesome savage headline. And I was like, dude, this will literally pull money from anybody, anywhere. I don't care who they are. And it was like crickets. And then Chris was like, how to use Facebook. And he spelled it wrong with a comma where it shouldn't have been. It was the ugliest headline I've ever seen. And people responded to it. And it was a lesson for me that copywriting is about speaking the language of the market, where the market is,
yes,
giving them hope for something new. It's not necessarily about tactic, advanced, hyper awesome.
Grab them by their throats.
Yeah. And so, let's just rap for a little bit about, copy is the bedrock of everything. Like I've gotten good at sales because of learning copywriting. I've gotten good at convincing my wife where to go to dinner because of copywriting. It's a bedrock foundational skill. So maybe you can rap about like how you got started in copywriting, what you do to get better. And then I'll talk about a little bit about my journey.
I think I want to just preface this with saying that this is not just for people who identify themselves as copywriters. I think anybody who wants to be successful in their business and marketing needs to know how to communicate to their market. And I feel like if you're going to learn one skill in your business and in marketing, it's how to communicate, and that's copywriting. So I didn't necessarily identify myself as like, quote, a copywriter, and that I, wrote sales letters for people and all this kind of stuff. I didn't really call myself a copywriter, but I have written copy that has generated multiple seven figures just because it was almost like just a necessity, honestly.
Bro, you're a copywriter. Don't cut yourself. I make fun of you, but you can do it as good as
I'm just wounded. My heart's been wounded by Taylor making fun of me, my copy.
I am better than you at a lot of stuff, but that doesn't mean you're not good at it.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Did you guys just hear him give me that? He's just like, I'm not even going to fight that. Whatever.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing is you are like a very, very talented person. You got good hair. You're a badass copywriter. And I think your process for writing copy is way more, your method, your process is a lot more honed and systematic than mine.
Yeah.
I think mine has just come from like just hours and hours and hours stooped in the market and just feeling compared to yours. I feel like and dude, you're just a savage at writing copy and just doing it an ongoing process. So for me, it came out of necessity. Like I had to do it. It's not like something like, oh yeah, hey, I want to be a copywriter, so I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, I had to get this result. And so I had to dive into the market. And so that was kind of my process in having to do it. And then writing my first sales letter did almost $1 million. And I was like, man, maybe I can actually do this.
Yeah.
Maybe it actually works. So just talk about your process a little bit and like where you came from.
Dude, I've just got goosebumps right now because of how nice you're being to me. And I don't think people know what to do with themselves. They're like, wait, what? Are they complimenting each other right now? Yes,
it's weird.
It does happen, but usually it's behind the scenes, so nobody knows. I learned what copywriting was sitting on a beach in 2014 when I picked up a book called John Carlton, who's like an epic copywriter. I learned a lot from him. He was talking about copywriting, and I thought that it was like trademarking government with the government. And I was like, how do you make a living copywriting songs and stuff? And then I learned, and I was like, oh, copy is what, it doesn't engineer, but it sits on the back of human emotion to create an outcome. And I started writing copy for people. My first couple sales letters were horrible. My first 2 gigs, they didn't even use my copy because they felt like it wasn't good. And then the third sales letter that I wrote, in about 3 hours of launching, it did over $130,000 with zero traffic, just to an organic email list on a $39 product. That's pretty good.
That's crazy.
And then I was like, sort of the same as you. I was like, oh, like this is like what it feels like. And it was like an amazing feeling. But fast forward a couple of years for writing for clients, I kind of discovered, I feel like through trial and error, that there's like the market, and that's what you're talking about, where you're like super in tune to the market. And you are like, he's not just saying that like he can speak the language of the market, because he actually talks to them and gets to know them and stuff. And then there's also the product and creating that rapport. I heard someone say once, I forget who this was, marketing and copy is not about creating a bridge from your product to the market. It's about creating a bridge from the market to the product. So you meet the market where they are, and you find out what they need, and you find out what they don't like about their current situation. And then you give them hope. You give them a way out. You give them really the opportunity of a lifetime to fix what they don't like and to achieve what they have only dreamed of through the product you're selling. And for us, I tell our sales guys all the time, I tell the guys we have a guy who writes some copy with us, the greatest gift we can give you is a product that actually does what you're telling people it can do. As a copywriter, like you write copy for a product that sucks and you're like going to hell. Like it's the worst feeling ever. Like, because you've created this emotion in people and then let them down. And so, my process, I still write a ton of copy every single day. I write it out, by hand sometimes. And for writing marketing material, ads, things like that, I've learned that sometimes it's better to just be yourself than it is to be clever and cute, And so some of our emails have typos in them, and some of them have run-on sentences, and some of them don't really make sense to a grammar professor, but they read like you would talk. And I told someone this the other day. I was like, you need to record yourself and then have it transcribed, because your writing sounds like writing, not like talking. I think that's the biggest lesson that I can pass across, is like your writing shouldn't be perfect. It should have run-ons. It should have errors in it. It should be just like you're talking, because that's what they're reading it to themselves in their head,
What did you do to get to that place in your copy?
Dude, I copied out sales letters every single day for about 14 months. Every single day. Sundays, yep. Tuesdays, yep. Thursdays, yep. Every single morning. It took me about an hour every morning. So like Gary Halbert is probably my favorite voice to study, because he's smooth. He was smooth like butter is the way he came across. So the Gary Halbert letters, I've copied all of them. Jay Abraham is another one that I love to study. And Jay Abraham has a sophisticated voice. I attached like audible words to copy, like Halbert stuff, or just as like butter. It's like slice a knife right through it and not even feel it. Mm-hmm. Abraham is like crackly. He's just like real polished and professional, and he's speaking to an extremely sophisticated market. And you got like Eugene Schwartz, and he's just like scientific. He doesn't have a ton of like crazy adjectives and things like that, but he has like a systematic, like proof-based system for how he put together his copy. Ogilvy, classy, bespoke, you know. Like sometimes after like studying some Ogilvy and writing down some Ogilvy, I'll start sounding like a Brit. And I'll actually, like, I've used the word bespoke, and then people are like, what the hell does that mean? So yeah, like I just have, and you do the same thing, but like I found the best way for me to train the pattern into my brain is using a good old fashioned pen and a notebook, just writing it down, you know?
Yeah. That's a really good practical tip. I think another one too is just understanding and practicing how to be a good storyteller.
Yeah.
Because if you can get someone emotionally involved in your story, people love that. And you just look at, I'm a big fan of, like, back in the day, I absolutely loved the show 24. I was addicted to it. I could not let it go. And so, there were times when me and my wife, we'd be up at like 2 a.m, saying, babe, one more episode. Right? Because they were so good at telling the story and opening loops and keeping you hooked. So if you can get that same effect in your copy, you'll get people to read the whole thing.
Yeah. One time I used 24 in a sequence for Jason, like a couple years ago. It was like the time was coming down. It was the end of the deadline. And I talked about 24 and then got them kind of into that frame of mind. And it was like, you're basically in like our real life, like 24, like you have 30 minutes left. So save your life or die trying. I don't care, but the cart's closing.
Oh, I like that.
Dude, who are some of your favorite guys to study for copywriting?
Well, of course, the legends.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to say one guy who's in a completely different market than us is Chris Haddad. I love Chris Haddad because he's like in the dating niche kind of market.
He's got a nice hairy chest as well. You can look up.
Does. And he wears tights. I don't know if they're actual yoga pants or not, but no. So Chris is like amazing at communicating with his market. Like, I'm not in his market. I'm not, his like prospect, but I find myself wanting to buy his stuff because it's so good.
Hold on, bro. Like, I'll read his headline and feel like my wife is cheating on me. That's how good his copy is.
Yeah.
It's so dialed in.
Yeah. So he's one guy I pay attention to and just, keep an eye on what he's doing. Of course, I love Frank, Uncle Frankie.
Uncle Frank's. Yeah.
He's just got that kind of that charm, feels like he's been your buddy for years. And so he's really good. I like him as well.
Because he's from Georgia.
Yeah. Neighbors.
He's been really good at retooling his brand as well. And I think that that's something that like is really hard to do. And he's done it well. You go back to his copy 15 years ago and it doesn't sound like the same person. It's a different persona. Who else?
Those are two of the ones that kind of really stick out for me. So what about you?
I mean, dude, I love Uncle Frank as much as the next guy.
I was the next guy.
Yeah, I was the next guy. No, he's awesome. And he can make you laugh. I feel like he's kind of ripping off our personalities because we're funny. And
Frank, what the F, dude?
Come on, Frank, dude. Like, dude, we're the smartest guys in marketing, and then you're being funny. No, we're funny. We're funnier. Anyways, I love Jay, dude. Sometimes I feel like his emails are an acquired taste because it's kind of like reading through a Encyclopedia Britannica at first.
Yeah.
But
Jay Abraham,
he's got this chokehold on the sophisticated market, and I think that's really good. And I like the way that he positions himself as, like, in his language, he's very just direct and to the point. Dude, when I was getting started, one of the guys I really looked up to, and I still do, I just don't know like what he's doing, is Andre Chaperone. And dude, this guy changed the email marketing world. And
dude,
he'd probably be mad that we're talking about him because he's like, a little bit reclusive and doesn't like crowds. But his SOS emails, which if you haven't heard of Andre Chaperone, you should definitely Google him, look him up. And when you talk about that 24 style, like open loops and hooks, man, that is his game.
So good.
He's probably one of the, if not the best in the world at doing that with email at this point. Did you agree with that?
Oh my God. Yeah. That when that product came out, I don't know if I got version 1 or 2, but it was delivered via email, the product.
Yeah.
And like, I could not freaking wait. Like, I had my eyes on the next day, like 4:00, whenever I was supposed to get the email.
I know.
And dude, it just created such a desire to read it. I was like, man,
He ruined so many dinner plans with that course. Little freaking bastard. So Frank, Jay, Andre, I guess Chris, probably my top. Yeah, Chris Dodd. Now, I mean, I'm subscribed to everybody, everyone out there. But when those guys, they send stuff, or when they change something and I notice something different, I pay attention. I'm wondering why. Dude, another one that I got to say, because I can't not include this guy, is Kevin Rogers.
Oh,
dude, like,
I do love Kevin.
I'm actually on Kev's email list, like with 7 different emails. Sorry, Kevin.
Bro, you're like really jacking up his email costs.
This guy trained me, and I learned so much from Kevin Rogers. I would do anything for this guy, but his copy's so freaking good. He's like, when you talk about storytelling, he's right up there at the top with everybody else doing it right now.
He did a video, and I honestly don't remember what it was for, but
the one where he gave the secret and he's in the,
I don't know, but he was talking about, oh no, but it was probably a couple years ago. And he was telling a story, I think, of like a jazz musician or jazz singer. I don't remember if it was for a product or what it was for, but dude, it was another one of the scenes that just sucked me in. And I thought it was so freaking good. I was like, man, who the freak is this guy?
And this isn't, we don't get anything from Kevin for saying this, but I think one of the absolute best ways to get really good at copy is to join his crew, Copy Chief. It's like, he's obscenely undercharging what that thing is worth. And I don't think it's because he knows better. I think it's because he has a passion for helping copywriters grow and get better. And everybody on our team who writes copy, we buy them a membership to Copy Chief. I'll never forget, like, when I was brand new and he was so generous, he gave me the opportunity to work with him on a project. And we had a Zoom session, much like what we're doing right now. And he pulled up a piece of my copy that I'd written for him and just went in and workshopped it. And I think I told you about this, Chris, after this was done. And I was just like stunned. I was like, this is how the pros work. It changed like the trajectory of my copywriting career. And he puts stuff like that inside of Copy Chief all the time for you to just go and watch. So we get nothing from this. It's just like, I'm in there. Chris is in there. It's a great community to be a part of. So
I feel like we could go on and on.
Yeah. So now, Kev, that we've made you so much money from this podcast, you can reach out and I'll give you my PayPal address. No,
he probably can retire after this podcast.
Just retire, man.
With so much money. No, I think one thing to just point out too is Taylor and I have fallen in love with marketing, like, and copy.
I thought you were going to say each other.
Not each other. No. I mean, I love you, bro, but you know what I mean?
I got you.
I love getting stuff in the mail, that are sales letters and magalogs, because I just love reading copy. I love watching infomercials and like people trying to sell me. So I think that's one thing that's important. Like, you fallen in love with that process, and it just becoming a passion. And I notice that is, a common trend with people who are really good, is they just love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So true. Fall in love with the process. All right, man, this is getting pretty long. Let's wrap it up.
This is like a mini plus episode.
Yeah, it's like a mini plus episode.
All right.
See
you guys. That was such a great ending.
Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. For real.
See ya.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.